Hopefully the SD card doesn't cut out this time. Hey guys, Adrian here for DigitalDojos, and I know I always say I'm going to keep up with the content. I have a lot of stuff coming out and I failed to deliver. But September really marks the scale in technology content and announcements as far as news and products goes. And that's why I wanted to start off with this video talking about what to expect at Apple's September 9th, 2014 event. It's something I do every year right before the event, a couple of days before. So you can call me out if I get things wrong, I get things wrong. But everything, as I say in any rumor or prediction video, is yet to be confirmed until the actual event happens. No matter how many sources are out there, how many leaks, nothing is really confirmed until Apple and Tim Cook and the team goes up there and announces it on stage. So September 9th is typically an event that Apple always hosts every year, typically for their new phone, the next generation of the iPhone. And it's mixed in releases with iOS, Mac OS 10 updates, possibly iPod or other hardware. It's always different every year, but typically centers on that of the iPhone. This year, we're going to be seeing what they're, I'm just going to call the iPhone 6. It's not, confirmed whether that's going to be in the name or not. I did a whole roundup video on the iPhone 6 independently about a month ago. You guys can check that out. But I kind of give you guys the short version. iPhone 6, bigger screen, 4.7-inch and 5.5-inch models are said to be released. So it's going to be finally making that jump for Apple into this bigger screen market that's been so widely adopted by Android. And it's what every phone upgrade typically is. I mean, it's faster. That's something, it's not something I feel I need to say as always, because an upgrade is an upgrade. You're going to get a faster phone. Apple isn't going to give you a slower phone, much like Android want to give you a slower phone of the next generation of it. It's going to be faster. It's going to be much more thinner, the 5, than the 5S, which I have right here in my pocket as my daily driver. It's adopting the much more rounded design, very reminiscent of that of the iPod Touch 5th generation. And you're seeing all sorts of pictures right now on the screen relating to the device leaks that have been so widely out there. If you follow technology content in general on here on YouTube, I'm sure you've seen somebody who's had access to the kind of the dummy phones that have been announced and leaked. So, the design is nothing. I don't want to say it's nothing new, but it's been all over the internet for quite a while, and I'm sure you'll be seeing it at the Apple event when they show it on stage. So it's going to follow the traditional, form and function of an iPhone, but they're going to be moving a couple things. The power button's going to be moved onto the side. It's going to be thinner, like I said. There's going to be some additions to, I'm sure, the CPU is going to be new, the A8 CPU. The camera will probably get a new sort of lens and be that much more better as far as photo qualities go and video quality, and who knows what else we'll see. It's really going to be a hit or miss as far as if we'll see upgraded storage, as far as how much you can store on your iPhones and all of that. Also, one of the big things that's going to be announced that's really kind of new to the iPhone, but not new in terms of technology, is NFC, or near field communication, which can really change the space of mobile payments. Basically, this is a thing that allows you to kind of touch phones or touch devices with a certain NFC token, and you can do payments. You can send something over. It can work in a lot of different ways, but it's going to be a big thing for Apple as far as payments goes, integrating with that other Passbook application. And like I said, it's nothing new. It's out there on a lot of smartphones, but if it gets adopted on something like an iPhone, it's going to be very, very much more widely adopted, I think, and perceived by the general population. Because you got to think that a majority of these people who are buying iPhones or smartphones in general, they aren't all power users or technology enthusiasts per se. So with that being integrated, I think it only makes sense as Apple in their 5S released the whole Touch ID or the fingerprint scanner. It's just, I think that was paving the way for the whole mobile payments that Apple plans to do with NFC on the new iPhone. So that's the iPhone in a nutshell. Now, moving on, we have the category that's really making headlines, and that is the iWatch, the wearable category. This is a lot of things that a lot of people who typically don't follow technology haven't even heard about, but there is a movement for the smartwatch. The smartwatch is a digital watch per se, not like the traditional Casios and all that, but a smartwatch, and that's very much what it is. Think of it as a companion to your smartphone. It is something that allows you to interact with your smartphone without having to physically pull it out. And I know that sounds like such a first world problem, but for something that's already on your wrist, you can check the time, of course, like any watch, but you can interact with it. You can dismiss notifications while you're driving. You can do sort of things hands-free. You can tap it and answer a call, or you can say something and answer a call. You can deal with things that you typically would have to pull your phone out and focus on your phone right away from your wrist, or by a voice command, and tying that in with Siri would be all the much more better. So it's something that will be very much a convenience device. It's not something obviously that's a necessity for your iPhone, but if they tie in some extra things like fitness tracking, pedometer, music control, it's just a very convenient way to use your iPhone without having to use your iPhone essentially. And there's no word on price point. I'm guessing the 100 plus category, obviously, and going into the higher end of possibly 200 plus, 300 plus, knowing Apple's a little bit of markup on there. So we'll see how that goes. It's not going to be, I can't say it's not going to be a revolutionary device, because who knows, But it is something that is a very new space, and there's a lot of competitors right now on Android, so it's going to be interesting to see Apple's spin on it. And that's something that's going to be very exciting about the event, to see Apple kind of dive into a new category. Because if anything, if we've seen Apple in the last recent years, from the phone market to the tablet market, they've really dominated in those spaces. And speaking about the tablet, there is rumors about possible iPad upgrades, whether it's going to be an iPad Pro upgrade, a bigger screen, just maybe just an incremental upgrade. Who knows? We'll see how that goes. And lastly, on the software end, we're going to hear about OS 10 Yosemite. That's Apple's next version of Mac OS 10. We're going to hear about iOS 8. That's Apple's latest version of iOS that is upcoming. iOS 8 to me is what iOS 7 should have been. It's small design changes and tweaks. It's a little bit of speed enhancements and some new features, while OS 10 Yosemite is unifying the mobile and desktop end and bringing that flat UI to the desktop on Mac. So, these are things that have already been announced. So iOS 8 has been announced, OS 10 Yosemite has been announced. What you're going to hear at the keynote is most likely a recap of all those great new features, as well as official release date for both the iPhone, or the iOS and Mac OS 10 operating system. Outside of that, really, it's up to really Apple. In the end of the day, there's possibilities of an iPod lineup refresh. Whether they're going to be upgrading an iPod. There's possibilities of Mac lineup upgrades. Whether they're going to be upgrading the iMac, the Mac Pro, Mac Mini, MacBook lineup. Who knows? Apple tends to throw in these small things if they're not really headliners, but they're just small incremental upgrades within the whole mess of the keynote. But nonetheless, at the end of the day, I think this, from somebody who's covered the event for the last 5+ years, this is something where it's a bit more exciting, because over the recent years, you've just seen Apple do those incremental upgrades. Not to say they haven't released great products. They've had the iPad Mini, they've had the iPhone 5S, and they've done some pretty amazing things in the last couple of years. But this really is Apple entering a new market. It's Apple trying something new. It's Apple kind of, trying to, they're not a company who always adheres to the curve of technology. If everybody else is doing it, they don't do it till they're prepared to do it. And whether or not that means they're doing it right is, personal preference and opinion. So we'll see. We'll see how the iPhone 6 is. We'll see how the iWatch is. We'll see all of this at the September 9th event. So I hope you guys stay tuned. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of what to expect video, and love to hear what your guys' thoughts are down below. If you are Android users, iOS users, are you going to be upgrading? Are you going to be switching? Who knows? What's your opinions? What's your thoughts? Love to hear them. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will catch you all in the next video.